All right, well, good evening, and I'm so glad you all have come out, some of you again, so it's nice to see you again. This is our second of 6 CDBG consolidated and annual action plan meetings. And so I'm Jody Heisler. I'm the grants compliance manager for Clay County. This is one of my analysts. This is Katie. She handles mostly our FDOT and capital project grants. So Holly, who you met on Monday night, handles this grant specifically. This is one of hers. So one of the things that I wanted to just go over as introduction is we're going to look at two different parts of a whole tonight. One part is the consolidated plan, and that's the high-level overarching plan. You should have a copy. And that runs from 2026 to 2030. It's a 5-year plan. And then we'll also look at the 2026 annual action plan, which is a little bit drawn down, a little more specific of the plan of what's proposed to do with funding in year 1 of this new 5-year program. So this is a HUD-sponsored program. The Community Development Block Grant is sponsored by HUD. It's designed to assist counties and their constituents that live in low to moderate income areas. And if there's a facility that might not be in a low to moderate income area, but that serves a primarily low to moderate income population, then those facilities are also eligible for these dollars. So in some instances for Clay County, that would be parks mostly. So this is, none of what we're going to talk about tonight is set in stone. These are a framework. This will be, once we have all of our meetings are finished, then we'll take all of the public comments, we'll put those all together, we'll add those to the packet. And all of that then will be presented to the county commissioners. The first hearing will be on the 14th of July, and then that'll also, we'll get public comment from that meeting. And then on the 28th, they will take all of that comment and review it and vote on approval of the plan and the allocation of funding for both the full 5 years and then specifically for year 1. The primary goal for this second set of consolidated plan, we did one 5-year that we're in the last year of now. That was the first time that these dollars had been utilized by Clay County, and there was a lot of focus in those first 5 years on home rehabilitation, and that was a great program. It helped a lot of folks, but it is individually focused. So in this consolidated plan, we wanted to do two things. We wanted to be connected to the county's approved 5-year strategic plan to support those things, and also we wanted to be more county-wide as opposed to individual. So the things that we'll hear and talk about this evening are a broader selection of things that aren't individual. So we're looking at infrastructure improvements, public facilities, parks and recreation, neighborhood enhancements, and community partnerships and nonprofit activities. And these matter to the county because in many areas, obviously infrastructure matters for safety and accessibility, but a lot of these programs are things that are on the docket, that the Board of County Commissioners have approved projects in these broad areas, and these dollars will then help move those projects forward towards completion. And the public-private partnership is also very important because the work that we do with nonprofits and other agencies does help support areas that the county may not have activities that are as robust as the nonprofit, and so we can partner with those community agencies and make sure that the citizens have access to all the services that they need. So we did learn some things in that first 5 years, and we did incorporate those. And I think the biggest lesson that we learned was the broader we can go leaves us the greatest flexibility, because of course over a 5-year plan, if you're specific, at some point something's going to change and then you're going to need to make a pivot. We can do that with this program, but if it's a major pivot and we've been specific, then we have to do a whole process to make those updates. So with this broader, little higher level, it'll allow us to adapt more quickly to any changing needs that the county has over the course of the 5 years. And as you know, county is growing rapidly and needs are changing rapidly. So we felt like that was the best vision for this particular 5 years. So in this 5 years, we're looking at these, again, infrastructure, public facility, parks, neighborhood improvements, and partnerships. So the primary focus with infrastructure is sidewalks, and there have been in this current year a lot of focus on sidewalks. We are finishing 5 brand new sidewalks that have been put in. There is currently replacement of some outdated and not ADA compliant sidewalks along 218. That's happening right now. And in the future, what we're looking at is filling in a lot of those gaps as 218, that construction finishes, to fill in a lot of the gaps where there are no sidewalks, to make that safe, accessible for pedestrian and bicycle traffic. So a lot of focus on sidewalks, increasing that safety all around the county. There's a number of projects that have been identified that these funds could help with. The goal for parks and facilities is, again, mostly accessibility, ADA compliance. A lot of the parks, if you go to them, there are some that lack really good ADA compliance between the parking lot and the facilities. Often they are, they're just dirt or grass or gravel, which is, not great if you have any kind of ambulatory challenges. So we want to look at those things and do some focus in that area. And that increases quality of life for the folks who use those facilities. Neighborhood enhancements, this is a beautification type projects. We do neighborhood cleanups. We've done a good number of them here in the High Ridge area, Tanglewood, and other areas around Clay County. And it has community involvement, it has nonprofit involvement, it has the county staff involvement. So it's really a great way to come together collectively and do some really necessary good work to keep neighborhoods looking nice, help the residents feel proud of the areas that they live in, and just make the community have an overall better appearance. And then the community partnerships and nonprofit support, this was new that we added into the current year plan, and we wanted to continue it. It's a nonprofit, right now what we're doing is a nonprofit expansion, and so these dollars that may be allocated into this area would assist nonprofits to expand their services. So it's not a long-term thing. It may be a 1-year or a 2-year endeavor. The county commissioners, if everything gets approved, would then have the oversight on selecting which nonprofits and how many dollars would go into that particular area. There is a process for selection, and so when we get to that point, if they approve additional folks, then we would start that process, and it would be obviously on our websites and public and how to apply for that. But it supports capacity building, technology improvements, outreach efforts, service coordination, and obviously that does make a huge difference, again, to be able to have community resources available for the residents. And then we do allocate some dollars or a percentage of the whole for the consolidated plan to cover administrative costs of running the program. So that's the grant has a good number of reporting requirements and financial reports that have to be submitted to HUD on a routine basis, along with all of the other work that gets done by the staff to make sure that we're meeting all of the HUD's compliance and procuring vendors in the correct manner and all of those things. And so we are able to recoup some of those expenses as well. So here behind me, I did do just an overview. So for the 5-year consolidated plan, these are rough estimates proposed. So for the infrastructure and connectivity area, we're proposing a 60% over the 5-year period of the dollars would go into that area. 25% would go to public facilities and parks. 10% would go to the nonprofit partnerships, and 5% would go to administration. And so in this 5-year plan, we want to remain flexible. We want to improve infrastructure and connectivity, support our neighborhoods, and make sure that they're lovely and that people are comfortable and feel proud to live in those neighborhoods, and support our community partnerships. So one thing that I want to make sure that everyone is aware of is, again, this is a framework. It's not a fixed project list. So this high-level plan just sets the boundaries and gives some guidance on then each year how that will, what those annual plans will look like. So I will use that as a segue to go into the annual action plan. So the main thing that I want to cover with the annual action plan is HUD has given us an estimated amount for the first year of this next consolidated plan of $1,057,772. So again, the focus is the same, a little bit more specific, because now we have dollars instead of broad percentages. So of that just over $1 million, we have proposed that $634,663 go toward infrastructure projects, again, primarily sidewalks, replacement or brand new. $264,443 would go public facilities and parks. Again, those would be projects that would be focused mostly on improving accessibility through ADA compliance. Then $105,777 for nonprofit support, and in that nonprofit support is also some dollars for the community cleanups. So we wrap that into that one section in these dollars, and that way it's flexible. If we only do a few cleanup projects, then we have more dollars for the nonprofit piece. And then administration comes out to roughly $52,889. Again, flexible. If we don't need it, we'll move it to another area that does have need. But we do like to make sure that we've allowed enough in the event that we need it. So that is how year one of the plan would roll out. And again, objectives are the same: to find projects that have been pre-approved, that the county commissioners are already on board with. We do, have a list of those things that have already gone before the board and are approved that we can match with these dollars if we're awarded if we get the award. and also to align with the strategic plan. The county we're in year 3 of this strategic plan, year 2. 3, I thought. Year 3 of our county strategic plan. To my understanding, it was the first one. And so we want to make sure that the things that we're doing are in alignment with the plan that has been put in place for over the 5 years. So that makes it more visible to the community and less cumbersome to try to get a new project through when it's already been approved through all of the channels, and we can just begin to move forward. So that is what I have to present to you all. And so I just want to open it up, and Katie's going to kind of gather all of your thoughts. So I know some of you had joined us at our first meeting, and so we're glad that you're here again. And so I'll just open it up, and if you all want to tell me your thoughts. You do have a survey on the table. Please take a minute to fill that out, and we will use your comments on there and your answers to put together some of our direction. So that will help the county commissioners be able to understand what you'd like to see done with this program. So I will open it up to your thoughts and your direction.
One thing that, my name's Marvin, one thing that I've learned in dealing with our veterans within the county is they don't know what they don't know. I heard some smart aleck say that phrase before, but in this case, it makes sense.
Right.
There's no central number for them to call. I think only one of the county commissioners has indicated that he's a veteran or active in the veteran. So trying to reach out to the veterans and let them know that there are assistance available is a high priority.
So let me just ask you a follow-on question. We do have veteran service officers that are staff, Clay County staff. So their services are not well known by the veteran community, that they're there to help connect them to auxiliary services around the county?
I believe that. But the veterans that do locate the Veteran Service Office on college are well served, I will say this. The other thing that is somewhat confusing is in the building that's next door is a local but small VA clinic.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
They have 2 or 3 VSOs. You would think that if these are veteran service officers and they're helping veterans serve, that they're part of the VA maybe. They're in the VA office. They're not. They belong to other organizations.
Okay.
That adds confusion to the fact.
I know in the first meeting there was conversation around the education, so that's what I'm hearing again, is that we need to potentially be able to find a means to use these funds to help educate the veteran community within Clay County, that there are services available both within the county and through auxiliary services. I know the Veterans Council and others. Okay, I just wanna make sure that we're capturing that
Yeah,
accurately.
We have both the Veterans Council of Clay County and the Veterans Center.
Okay,
One is, Veterans Council is made up of nonprofit organizations and military veteran organizations. I'm gonna say there's probably 15 of each.
Members of the Veterans Council?
No, yes, the units, like the American Legion and United Way, you know, not all of them are military organizations. I think there's 13 or 15. And then I'll call them civilian units that help the low income. They also help veterans. They don't help exclusively veterans, but yes, they don't turn veterans away. They do help veterans, and those are more civilian units.
okay,
So I think we're gaining ground, but it's ever so small right now. We want to see it grow. I think Jess is instrumental in making our veteran community, we have a phone number now you can call, okay? I mean, you're surprised. People that offer services, they say, well, I couldn't find you, you're not listed in the phone. Well, there is no phone. You're not listed on Google or something like that. Well, we are listed now, so
Okay.
that assesses.
You want this open?
well, if we shut it, it locks. If we shut it, it locks.
Leave it open.
Turn the air conditioning out.
I can close it slightly. If we close it, it locks. So, yeah, we have like a open public meeting. Yes, sir, I'll do that. I'll get it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
We discussed this a little bit at the last meeting, but Impact Play or Impact Works is one of the nonprofits that was selected to be funded for capacity building for this year.
Correct.
And what I understand is they're using some of that money for the Linksy system.
Correct.
Which is basically an AI-assisted resource searchable platform that allows folks to look for services. And that's something that we haven't had before. We've been stuck using spreadsheets. And so I think that that's a very good use of the funds for sure on this. For the veterans and the veteran community, for us it's the veterans, those that are still serving, the family members, and the surviving spouses and the caregivers. We've got a couple of those that are disconnected from community, and they do not have, wouldn't even think that they might have resources that are available, and that would be part of, that's what we're serving, who we're mostly serving right now at the center. The veterans, they kind of know to go to VSO to do a claim specifically for a disability, but they come to us and ask the questions about burial and headstone and caregiver resources and those types of things. It's not something the veterans are thinking about until, and I've heard this just this week, I'll worry about that when I need it. And that's really not good.
Right.
And so continuing to have that central location, the hub at the Veterans Center, it's something that's very important. And we'd like to expand a partnership with the county more so to have a bigger facility and also the space for other nonprofits to serve alongside us. So that's something I'd like to see in the future.
Very good.
Yeah, I would echo to what Jess is saying, and so Lewis, you know, here in the county, we have over 30,000 veterans, as you already know, not including their family members, you know, spouses and what's not. But what we have seen over the past years that we've been doing is veterans need help, and they can't find the help. If you type in, okay, I need help with school for veteran, you have a million things pop up. Now that AI is coming online, that helps out a little bit, but most of us like to talk to a person. So with a veteran center here in Clay County, that veteran can say, okay, I need help with a veteran. First thing pops up is a veteran center. Oh wow, I have a place that I can go. Now they can go there and get the information they need. Not only that, but you know, like Jess just mentioned, social isolation is a big thing for veterans. A lot of veterans don't want to go to the VFW, don't want to go to the American Legion, but they want to connect with veterans. A veteran center would provide that location where they can go and connect with other veterans, you know, just to sit down and get out the house. I mean, currently now, there's a few older veterans that come to the Veteran Center all the time just to that camaraderie, just to get out of the house. I mean, there's one that says the Veteran Center saved his life. So, you know, I think if that is just one or two in this small location that we have, imagine if we have a larger location, how many more we can draw in from Keystone. You know, so I think it's very important. Not only that, but you know, like it mentions here, it's a hub that we can coordinate right now for the Veteran Council. Like Margaret just mentioned, that we have over 32 different members of the Veteran Council, all the American Legions, VFWs, the Marine Corps League. We have one location where all those organizations can meet, coordinate, and you know, do good things in the community. Right now, we don't have that. We meet in the American Legion, but if we had a centralized location where that's one of the main focus, it'll definitely help out. You know, you talked about education before. The VSOs are great. They do a great job, but they're kind of specific of what they do. A Center for Veterans would be a place where we can actually hold classes, have veterans come in and we can give classes on employment or whatever they may need. So the education part will be a huge part of the center. Not to mention, like I said, the quality of life. It increases the quality of life because now they're not stuck at home. Now they have something they can actually do, where they can go to the center and just hang out, meet other veterans, talk, and make the whole community just better by, you know, having a center. So I think it's very important that we have them here in Clay County. We're going to do everything we can to ensure that the county commissioners understand that, you know, we need this in Clay County.
All right, very good. Yes, sir.
I have a question and I'm on hold. The new, was it County Community Development Building?
Yes. That building houses what used to be in the administrative building. It houses engineering, planning, zoning. So we just had been to capacity in the administrative building and needed to have, so it's in addition to the administrative building, but those are the fire marshal's offices are there now. So everything that was on the third floor, planning, zoning, engineering, what else? Code enforcement, those have all moved now to the new building, which is just next door. And then there are folks all around the county, like our offices on College Drive. And so in probably the end of July, early August, the VSOs and the grants team will be moving into the administration building. So we've got people in the Aging True Senior Center taking some space there. Those folks will all come back. So now we can not be subletting or leasing other facilities. So that was the impetus with the growth. We needed the additional space and then we can bring folks back in. So that's what's happening in that building. They're gonna do a ribbon cutting, I saw sometime.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you
I think
should,
I heard it was gonna be in July.
so check the calendar. It is just a beautiful space. We're all jealous. But it is a beautiful space, so I
You
would.
shouldn't be jealous. When they move out, you'll get more room.
Well, yeah, but they have a brand new building, and all their bathrooms are single stalls.
Yeah, we did. Priorities.
But yeah, definitely, if you can go to the ribbon cutting, I think it would be great for the community to be able to see that space. It's lovely. And I think it will serve, the community that needs those services, it's much more accessible, so.
Quick question, you mentioned about, from the grant before, there's projects that's going on right now. Now, will these funds be used for those projects?
No.
Okay.
So those dollars must be spent by the end of September of this year.
Okay.
And any dollars that aren't spent will be deobligated, is what they call it. This is a reimbursement. Most grants operate as a reimbursement. So we have to spend the money and then be able to demonstrate to HUD how we spent it, and that those, all the documentation for all those expenditures. So if we don't spend it all, then what we don't spend, we don't get, and HUD will reallocate it somewhere else. I think we'll probably be able to do that, but timing, right? It just depends on how those projects, if we had not asking for one, but if we were to have a big storm in September that would throw off construction schedules, then there would be potential for some of those not to be finished. But yes. Now, we did have home rehab still remaining from actually 2023 that we were finishing in this last year. And our one last house that we just have waiting on, the contractor's waiting on some sliding glass doors. So that's the last of those projects. The community cleanups have been completed for the year because we don't do them during these really hot months. We don't want anybody to, get sick. So we do those in the early spring and in the late fall. So almost everything for the current 5-year projects are wrapping up now. But I don't know if we did Mallard Drive sidewalks on Mallard, Blue Jay, Choctaw, Harrison, Jefferson, and right now they're working on some replacement on that stretch of 218 to make sure that they're wide enough, have ADA accessibility. So that's what they're working on right now. Any other questions or thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I do have one more question.
Absolutely.
So, the public facilities and parks, right?
Mhm.
So if Governor DeSantis passes this property tax thing, and I know the county was talking about cutting back on the parks and they're, putting money into the parks and recreation. So will that number change will that percentage change if that happens?
Yeah, so I am absolutely not qualified to speak to what the potentials are, because I don't even think that that's all been ironed out yet. So I don't know. For the most part, because this is specific and the parks have to be in low to moderate income areas, and these dollars are outlined in pretty specific ways, mostly for accessibility in parks and public facilities. I would say that it's a whole different
Color money is what we
yeah,
call
so
it.
it's a whole different type of situation than what I think you may be addressing.
Okay. Just want to make sure they don't take anything else from it.
No, the federal government has pretty specific guidelines on how the dollars that they provide are used. So you can't just kind of spend them willy-nilly. So.
You can, but then you go to jail.
Well, yes, and it's kind of our job to make sure that doesn't happen for anybody in the county. So,
We're watching.
yes. Yes. All right, well, I thank you guys for coming out, and for some of you for coming out again. And maybe I will see you at the next meeting, which will be next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Fleming Island Library is the next meeting. And then we're gonna take a break for the 4th of July holiday, and then we will be on the 7th of July at Orange Park Library, on the 8th at Middleburg Library, and then on the 13th at the Community Center Club Room at Oakleaf Plantation Phase 1. So that will round out all six of the meetings that we're gonna have for this project. Okay, thank you.